Moldova is a nation of more than 2.5 million people, nestled between the formidable Carpathian mountain range and the vast plains to the east. Moldova is a landlocked country, but just barely, being just over a mile away from access to the Black Sea. The country shares borders with Romania and Ukraine. The long, narrow valley on the eastern fringe of the country is home to the self-proclaimed Transnistrian Moldavian Republic, commonly called Transnistria. It has its own separate government, its own currency, but it is internationally recognized as part of Moldova, but more on that later. The country's climate is ideal for the cultivation of grapes for making wine, which the people of this land have done since ancient times. Although the country ranks low in population, it is one of the most prolific wine producers in the world. Moldova's history has been shaped by its terrain, which is not especially mountainous or particularly flat. The hilly country was settled far back in Europe's prehistory. The Cucuteni Tripilia culture that inhabited the region was possibly the earliest to build settlements large enough to arguably be considered mainland Europe's first cities. In Moldova's prehistory, a trend began to develop that would become a recurring theme for the region. It became a melting pot for nomads from the east and farmers from the west. During the classical period, Thracian and later Celtic farmers settled there, while nomadic Scythians regularly operated in the same foothills east of the Carpathians. The Dacians, a new amalgamated culture, developed in the region and rose to dominate it. They appear to have been predominantly related to the Thracians to their south, in addition to distinct Celtic and Scythian influences. The Bastarnae were the dominant tribe north of the Carpathian Mountains. Like the Dacians, the Bastarnae were an amalgamated people group, but with more of a nomadic influence, when the Roman Empire began to expand to the north. A wide swath of disparate tribes united to form the first kingdom we know of in the region's history. Dacia proved to be a formidable adversary to the Romans and fought a brutal series of wars with them that they eventually lost. The Roman Empire annexed most of their territory and slaughtered, deported, and/or enslaved a large portion of their population. But beyond the periphery of Roman territory, free Dacians withdrew and survived the onslaught. The descendants of the Scythians, the Sarmatians, and the free Dacians both lived alongside each other to the northeast of the Roman border. One hypothesis is that they both merged into one people, and the only distinction later was whether a nomadic or settled way of life was chosen. Later, a new nomadic wave poured across the eastern steppes, the Huns. Their onslaught pushed another group of farmers, Germanic Goths, into the Dniester basin. Dacians, Goths, and Sarmatians all allied together against Roman and Hunnic threat. The Huns expanded their territorial domination for nearly a century, culminating in the reign of Attila the Hun. After his death, the Hunnic Empire rapidly collapsed. In the following chaotic period, a cavalcade of nomadic peoples from the east, like the Gepids, Alans, Avars, Magyars, Khazars, and Bulgars, all operated in the region, while the Western Roman Empire collapsed. The numerous nomadic invasions pushed many Slavic tribes to the south, some of which settled to the northeast of the Carpathians. The Bulgars formed an empire that rivaled the Eastern Romans for a time. They also shared generally hostile relations with the powerful Khazar Khaganate to their east. The Magyars led a rebellion of Khazar vassals and took control of the region which is now Moldova. Another rebellious Khazarian vassal, the Pechenegs, asserted their control in the plains to the north of the Black Sea. The Pechenegs were old rivals of the Magyars. They relentlessly attacked them until they were driven to the opposite side of the Carpathian Mountains, where they founded the Principality of Hungary. In the later 10th century, a new power expanded into the region from the north. During the reign of Sviatoslav I, the Kievan Rus, or Kievan Rus, whichever you prefer, inflicted debilitating defeats on the Khazar and Bulgarian empires. While returning from campaign against the Byzantine Eastern Romans, Sviatoslav was ambushed and slain by the Pechenegs, who made a cup out of his skull. The Pechenegs then expanded to dominate the northern coast of the Black Sea for nearly a century. After the Eastern Romans lost Asia Minor to the Turks, the Pechenegs believed it was time to end the Roman Empire. The Romans allied with another Turkic tribe, the Cumans, and were able to defeat the massive Pecheneg invasion. The Cuman-Kipchak Confederation replaced the Pechenegs as the dominant power on the northern coast of the Black Sea. For a century and a half, the Cumans were a powerful military and political force in the region. When not raiding their neighbors, they often played the role of kingmaker, lending aid to the Hungarians, Bulgarians, Rus, or Romans. That is, for the right price. The Cuman's glory days of raking in the cash came to an end when they got out horse-archered by the Mongol horde. The Mongol Empire didn't stay together long, but even the fragments of the gigantic empire were still enormous. The Golden Horde was the Mongol Empire's westernmost successor state, and the foothills to the east of the Carpathian Mountains was their westernmost border. These foothills were primarily inhabited by Vlachs. They were largely descended from ancient Roman settlers, and are the ancestors of modern Romanians. The Vlach shepherds and farmers east of the Carpathians paid tribute to the Mongol horde, probably with sheep and their tasty wine. In the mid-14th century, Louis I of Hungary dispatched a Wallachian warlord, Dragos, to establish a line of defense against the Golden Horde, who were usually called Tatars in the region. According to local tradition, while Dragos was hunting aurochs, the extinct wild ancestor of modern cattle, his loyal hunting dog, Mulda, died in the process of bringing down the great beast. The river where this occurred was named Moldova in honor of his deceased canine companion. In time, the region would derive its name from the river. Dragos established control in the region and was succeeded by his son. They owed their fealty to the Catholic Hungarian king, which was not very popular with the land's Orthodox population. One of Hungary's eastern Vlach vassals, Bogdan, unsuccessfully attempted to stir up rebellion among Hungary's Vlach subjects. After experiencing lack of support in his homeland, and possibly hearing of another failed Vlach rebellion on the other side of the Carpathian Mountains, Bogdan and his supporters packed up and descended upon Moldavia. There, he received wide support, and the previous rulers fled to Hungary. For the next 7 decades, Bogdan's descendants successfully fought off foreign incursions, built up a formidable military, economy, and expanded Moldavia's territory. During the reign of Alexandru, things were especially good. After he died, the next 25 years were especially bad. Moldavia's throne changed hands 19 times in the 2.5 decades. Fathers, sons, brothers, and uncles all engaged in a chaotic carnival of violence. Moldavia's Polish, Hungarian, Wallachian, Lithuanian, and Ottoman neighbors all supported various court factions. Then, in 1457, Stefan III came to the throne by deposing his uncle who had killed his father. He came to the throne with the support of Vlad Dracula, who was a longtime ally and periodic rival. Stefan's reign was a high point for Moldavian cultural achievement, as well as political and military power. He defeated multiple foreign attempts to keep the constant game of thrones going in Moldavia, winning many battles over his 47-year reign. The most notable of which was the Battle of Vasuli, where Stefan defeated a very large Ottoman army, after which the Catholic Pope conferred upon the Orthodox sovereign the title Champion of Christ. Stefan also greatly strengthened Moldavia's defenses, building many fortresses, and mandating that the peasantry be armed at all times. He was also a shrewd diplomat who played his many enemies off against each other. After Stefan's death, his successors were not as successful in either diplomacy or in battle. Both Poland and the Ottoman Empire competed to control Moldavia. During the reign of Petru IV, Moldavia managed to agitate all of its neighbors. Petru unsuccessfully invaded Hungary, and then Poland. But relations were still good with the Ottomans, whom Petru was a nominal vassal of, so he attacked a mercenary army in Ottoman service. In retaliation, a combined army of Turks, Poles, and Crimean Tatars overwhelmed Moldavia in 1538, which began a long period of steadily increasing Ottoman influence. At the beginning of the 17th century, it appeared a new era was about to begin, when Michael the Brave united all 3 Vlach principalities for the first time. But he was betrayed and killed by an allied mercenary general. Following his death, Moldavia became a Polish fiefdom for a time, before returning to Ottoman control. Moldavia had paid tribute to Poland and the Ottoman Empire before, but had always retained near or complete autonomy. That was over. Throughout the 17th century, the Moldavian crown was often given to the highest bidder, or whoever promised to pay the most tribute to the Ottomans. Attempts at autonomy were crushed, and the army was largely disbanded. Taxes were very high, and the economy crashed. Moldavian princes eventually became little more than appointed Ottoman governors. During the 18th century, Moldavia became the battleground for the Ottoman, Russian, and Austrian empires. A declining population and corruption marked the century. In 1812, a large portion of Moldavia was ceded to the Russian Empire and renamed Bessarabia. Throughout the 19th century, many immigrants from around the Russian Empire settled there. Stipulated in an 1856 treaty, Moldavia was given access to the sea again. In 1859, Moldavia and Wallachia united, and later gained its independence from the Ottoman Empire, and later became the Kingdom of Romania. Between the world wars, Bessarabia united with the Kingdom of Romania, and on the eastern bank of the Dniester River, an autonomous Moldavian Soviet Socialist Republic was established. Bessarabia was lost to the Soviets during Part 2 of the global conflict. The Moldavian Soviet Socialist Republic's half-century saw an influx of migrants from the rest of the USSR. Despite its diminutive size, which was far less than 1% of the Soviet Union's territory, Moldavia was an economic powerhouse, exporting large quantities of manufactured and agricultural goods to the rest of the Union. During the dissolution of the Soviet Union, Moldavia's name was changed to the more Romanian-sounding Moldova, but some Moldovans felt nostalgic for the recent past, especially those living on the east side of the Dniester River, in Moldova's industrial heartland. Armed conflict broke out between those living on opposite sides of the river, which led to an agreement where Transnistria became a de facto independent state, which would be internationally recognized as part of Moldova, which is Moldova's current peaceful state of affairs. This video has not been sponsored by Moldovan wine, but you should buy some anyways if you see it at the store. This video has in fact been supported by my awesome patrons over on Patreon, and you, for watching till the end of the video, leaving a like, and all that other good stuff. Thank you so much for watching. This has been Epimetheus.